The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report Live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
Well, hello there, folks, and welcome to the Monday edition of Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here from Right to Offend Studios in South Florida, or I should say, recording today's episode from Right to Offend. And it is our last show of the year. And things might look a little bit different here for the recorded podcast. That's because I'm trying an application to record episodes. So bear with me. But anyway, it's great to be here for the final show of the year. Lots to cover on today's episode. First and foremost, I hope everyone had a good Christmas. I know I did. And, folks, I said it on the Christmas special, but I am really thankful for everyone who has just made incredibly special for all the guests who have come on and, made show what it is. Really. I cannot express gratitude enough all of you tune in on a basis, whether it be for the Monday show and all of our fascinating guests, or the Wednesday live show with Max and Morpheus, or the occasional Monday show where I just cover the news or do a monologue, much like this. Whatever the case, ladies, I really am thankful to one of you what it is. Okay, so there is some big news, or rather a controversy going on that I want to cover, or by the time you guys hear this on Monday, I suppose it'll be last week's supposedly, but it is big news, less or rather talked about news. So apparently, Elon Musk has gotten in hot water with some people, quote unquote, MAGA crowd. And he got into hot water because I don't really know how this all exactly started, but apparently on X on Christmas Day, he tweeted something about like H1B, which allows for workers come in and work basically on work visa. or under a and keep in mind, this is not related to illegal immigration or anything like that. This is legal immigration. You're here under an H1B. That means that you have the uh, right to work here, right, for a set period of time. Whether that be school or whether that be for job at or what have you. That's basically H1 one H. And I am oversimplifying it a little bit. There's more to it, but in a nutshell, that's what H1 are. Well, there's been a lot of talk about either reforming or getting rid of H1. A lot of people feel that H1B visas need to go, and apparently Musk has come out in strong support of basically other countries who want to come work in and under the H1. Well, apparently this caused an uproar on X, and a lot of people on Twitter are reacting very strangely. At least I think saying that Elon Musk is basically a traitor, somehow, that H1B visas hurt immigration, and that it just adds to the problem. Now, there are a couple ways to look at this, ladies. Because this is complex, and I understand some of the complaints about H. One of the criticisms I think is valid of the H1B is that it allows companies, business basically import cheap labor for like farming, oil work, construction, and there's been some speculation that illegal are able to get on H1. That's a whole problem. The H1B system of itself definitely has issues. Definitely does need to be reformed, but I don't necessarily think that it's entirely a bad concept. Like many policy does need reformed change. That's that seems Elon Musk's. Well, then you have the the alt-right griper, basically white supremacist. Basically Nick Fuentes types of people who don't like immigrants of any kind because they are, and they're basically they've basically made all sorts of racist comments about how this is destroying jobs for whites, and it's horrible, and it's just leading pretty filthy uh taking American jobs, and it's destroying the white man's ability to all the usual talking points. Of course, Fuentes, he also has to make about the how to, because why not? Again, the thing with Nick Fuentes is he's he's not white either, though. It's weird. And also, a lot of people have pointed out that if you're so critical of Elon, Trump for the policy or being in support of it, rather. And yet he is the one who basically supported Kamala Harris, for during the election. Basically, he renounced MAGA, uh, because Trump, rejected him, and being a scorned, little bitch, just wants to, get even with Trump or whatnot. And a lot of people have basically called him out on this. Also, the Groypers are getting banned for targeted harassment again, on and again, Rami, all of the people. So, as far as the Groypers X, I really don't give a fuck about the Groypers. In fact, that's kind of like the one, that's one of the few groups, along with where if a Groyper gets banned, I feel like they deserve it, because they're the ones who flag and dox and harass people and try to get others harassed platform. When they get deplatformed, they're always the ones who cry about something. Right? So as far as them getting banned, I really don't care. Good riddance. But like I said, I do think there are valid criticisms of visa program. And I think what is happening, folks, in all honesty, I think Elon is fortunately plating, but the valid criticism of the with the extremists, alt-right, and it's a lot of conservative accounts, and a lot of conservatives have lost checkmark verification, and in some then really silence, which I don't think is. And there's been some speculation that like X is having a glitch, or that Elon is just outright banned critics and control. I don't know what's going on with that. It chaotic and a little bit bizarre, if you want to know my opinion. Thing is just, it's kind of become a bit of a story. I think people are overreacting a bit. I think this situation is really multifaceted. So what I want to do, folks, is I want to play this clip for because one thing I think a lot of people are missing the fact that people are getting upset over Elon Musk on H1B. I do want to kind of I'll pull up the tweet that he about this. It's wanted. Okay, quick. So Elon is kind of spurging out about uh a little bit. Uh, know how some people might be taking action. Of his reactions, I don't think are necessarily all that good, and I'll show an example. Man does tweet a lot. So it is hard to, or I guess, so it is very hard. Uh, guys, has to. So, right window. Okay. So, apparently, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the kind of Elon at berging out a little bit, admittedly, for those uh listening on audio. This isn't the initial tweet that is causing controversy. Not a good look for him. Um I think here he's kind of addressing quite now weakness in the rear, but at any rate, this is not necessary for him. I will admit that. And he says the reason I'm in America along with SpaceX grids other countries is because of B take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this. Right there, ladies and you're making a Tropic Thunder reference there too, as some people have noted. Um, Admittedly, this response though does not seem to be the greatest Trump. I will that. Uh, but at the same time, like if he's criticizing or against racial reasons, I can kind of understand from. And he is right that as far as the tech space goes, where I think he's. There are a lot of people who are in the. I think do deserve H1B and who have done a lot of good work. That's something when Craig Mansfield at Craig here, if I can pull up the we were talking about topic of them uh basically limit them to grad degrees M right name as you can see here. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good take. Now, people are getting mad at Elon for being supportive of them or H1B case. But to be honest, folks, I'm a little as to why people are getting mad at Elon, specifically because, as far as I can tell, ladies and gentlemen, Elon's support of H1B because basically here's what Donald Trump said out, specifically for tech company, back in over the summer. And I want to play this clip because I think a lot of people are kind of missing this person. Honest. So back in June of this summer, Trump appeared on the All In podcast. And for those who don't know, I've mentioned the All In podcast before. Regulars will know what it is, most likely. But for those who don't know, the All In podcast is basically a podcast hosted for venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, two of whom are conservative and two liberal. Yeah, it's one of the top-rated podcasts in kind of the technology sector, and I follow it because I'm very interested in business and technology. Plus, they do talk about politics as it relates to business, and it's always good to kind of get perspective to liberals and to like that. That's why I praised about the podcast. Well, early this summer, on a so this episode of the All In podcast, dropped on June this year. Or the All In podcast talked about had Trump on to discuss a multitude of issues. But I want to play this clip, guys, because it specifically relates to H1 program and specifically David Sachs here and a lot of the other and podcast guys there in Silicon Valley, and they have a lot of people working for on the H1B program. They asked Trump about his thoughts on the program as reformation. Signed back in this year. I believe this was before Elon Musk public Trump. I could be wrong. I know that this was after the assassination or on endorsement. Here is the On podcast, David Sachs asking his opinion H1 program. What should be done with it? Here. Okay. Let's roll clip for one.
Running out of time here, so we haven't had a chance for you to speak to the border situation yet. So I want to give you a chance to address that, because that's always been really one of your main issues since 2016. You wanted to build a wall. The Democrats did everything they could to thwart that. You built the wall, but then Biden left a bunch of holes in it and then sold off the parts for scrap metal. And now we've had and repealed your executive orders. So I want to give you a chance to speak to that. But one piece I want to just add in as a follow-up question is, a lot of tech CEOs say, if we fix the border, can we get more H1Bs for tech workers? So can you address that as well as what's going on at the border?
Yes, so we built hundreds of miles of wall, David, as you know, and we're very proud of it. We did it as per specification by the Border Patrol. They wanted exactly the wall that we did, with the climb panel on top, with steel, concrete, and then rebar, and all of the things. And they wanted to have vision through it, clearly through it. And because I thought about concrete plank, frankly, going up 40 or 50 feet, and they didn't like that. They wanted to have vision through, and I understood that too. I sort of disagreed with it, but that's okay. We actually brought climbers in, Mount Everest climbers, to climb, and we built a very hard wall to climb. It's a very effective wall. And we built hundreds of miles, and then we're going to add quite a bit at the very end. And we bought about 200 additional miles, and it was ready to be put up. Could have been put up in 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And areas that were rough areas that were people coming in, because as you build the wall, they go in different areas, right? They go further out. It was so effective. It was so effective. Mexico gave us a lot of troops for free because of a certain negotiation that I had with them. You heard that. But it was so effective, the wall. But Biden, they didn't want to put up those slats that were going up routinely by us. That means you had gaps. You had, as an example, you had gates in certain area that we put up. We were going to put up big, powerful gates that we could open, and you could let equipment through, et cetera, if you needed it. And they got rid of everything. They sold it for 5 cents on the dollar, much of it, 5 cents on the dollar. I said, I can't believe it. And that's the first time that I said they're serious. They actually want open borders. They want an open border. Nobody could believe it. I couldn't believe it. Because I never believed they wanted an open border, because who would be stupid enough to want an open border? Look what's happened with an open border. I was very proud of that. We had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the worst border in the history of the world. We had a safe border. I had a remain in Mexico policy, catch and release in Mexico, not in the United States. Everything was so good. But the remain in Mexico was a big deal. Not easy to get, but it was a big deal. They were in Tijuana, hundreds of thousands of people. They had to be approved to come into our country. And now you look at what's happened. We've been overrun. It's an invasion of our country by people. Many people come out of jails and prisons. They come out of mental institutions, insane asylums, and we have terrorists coming into our country at a level that we've never seen before. It's a very sad.
I never understood why the wall was so controversial. You know, every country needs to have a border, and a wall is a really good way to enforce a border. I never understood why they were so animated about stopping you from building the wall after you ran on that issue in 2016. They held you up for years with litigation. And then, like you said, they wouldn't just finish the little pieces of it, and they left big holes in it. And I think you're right. The only conclusion is they want an open border. I mean, how else do you explain it?
They want to destroy our country. You know, the fact is, it's incredible. The big mistake I made, I should have said, I will not build a wall. We do not want a wall. And that wall would have gone up in 15 minutes.
The more important point, I think, Mr. President, is we need high-skilled workers in this country.
Yes.
We need to recruit the best and brightest from the world. Every
I
time
agree.
we get somebody super intelligent from India or Europe, any country, that's
Three of us
one
are
less-
immigrants, sir.
Yeah, and 3 of the 4 here are immigrants, the ones without the ties. And we can get these great people into our country, and that's a loss for our adversaries and our competitors, and it's a gain for us. But I've never heard you talk about this. Can you please promise us you will give us more ability to import the best and brightest around the world to America?
I do promise, but I happen to agree. That's why I promise. Otherwise, I wouldn't promise. Let me just tell you that it's so sad when we lose people from Harvard, MIT, from the greatest schools and lesser schools that are phenomenal schools also. And what I wanted to do, and I would have done this, but then we had to solve the COVID problem because that came in and, you know, sort of dominated for a little while, as you perhaps know. But what I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country. And you know more stories than I do, but I know of stories where people graduated from a top college or from a college and they desperately wanted to stay here. They had a plan for a company, a concept, and they can't. They go back to India, they go back to China, they do the same basic company in those places, and they become multi-billionaires employing thousands and thousands of people, and it could have been done here. And a bigger example is you need a pool of people to work for your companies. You have great companies, and they have to be smart people. Not everybody can be less than smart. You need brilliant people. And we force the brilliant people, the people that graduate from college, the people that are number one in their class from the best colleges, you have to be able to recruit these people and keep the people. It was such a big deal. Somebody graduates at the top of the class. They can't even make a deal with the company because they don't think they're going to be able to stay in the country. That is going to end on day one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think we
That's
all
fantastic.
wholeheartedly agree with that.
Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is President-elect Trump's position on H1B visas. And keep in mind, again, for those listening on audio, this is from a podcast dated from back in June 20th, so earlier this year. So that's Trump's official statement on H1B. That's that's been out there for a while. Now, like I said, I do think that there is valid criticism of H1B approach. Being import labor, like restaurants, hard manual labor, all of that, right? I'm not disagreeing with, I'm not saying the H program is perfect. All I'm saying, folks, and on Twitter/X is that for really intense like technology, like high tech, basically the STEM fields, I don't see a problem with the H1 program. Now, some people have asked, they're like, well, Sam, why not motivate American, why not motivate Americans? And why not motivate American workers, get them into. Well, I agree with that too. But right now, one of the problems that we have, specifically STEM and a lot of technology, this goes back to colleges in the university. Right now, we have a problem where a lot of the students are going into tech, whatnot. A lot of the Zoomers, a lot of the current working in tech, not all of them, but a lot of them, seem to be more interested in activism, political activism, left, than they do actually working. That's a problem. A big problem. And then a lot of Zoomers, and the ones with the engineering and whatnot, they see also think they deserve top pay they want and going to play in. Again, not all of them, but a lot of them come out of these universities. They're ill-equipped, right? So hire the ones that are, then also have students want to come, want to work in these of science and have. I don't see the problem with what you said. Does M need to be formed? Yes, it does. Elon Musk, Trump have said that it definitely needs. But for people to lose their mind over Elon Musk's by proxy, to be mad at Trump for this is really, in my mind, I don't get it. It's bizarre. Elon Musk might not. I've always said that no one is right, but all of these people who are now saying that Elon Musk somehow betrayed MAGA or somehow worse than Jack Dorsey is really laughable, folks. Like Twitter, X is a zillion times better than it was prior to Musk. People to say that it's exactly like Jack Dorsey days. Just not true. Could Elon, take Twitter /X doing it? Sure. Anything is possible. But I don't see that as being what's happening. I think overall, there are some I have more to do with the user experience of X than anything else. That's where I've criticized Musk. I don't like the fact that he Substack links, Twitter articles. By the way, Twitter articles, that's like a premium plus thing. I already subscribe to that's good. I really don't need to be signing up plus. Musk to block Substack because Substack is somehow like a competitor. X is really silly in my mind. So that's my biggest criticism. Uh, Twitter/X. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world either. And honestly, I think he's done an okay job overall. I think Doge is going to be good. I still have faith in this new Trump administration. Don't doubt me, folks. We are still better off, or we will be better off, than we would be under a, Harris Walls. Definitely be better off under Trump, JD Vance, than we were under Biden Harris. So, to those who are saying that they have buyer's remorse, but whatnot on X because of this. First off, if you have buyer's remorse, Trump's not even in office already. I have to wonder even if you were ever even pro Trump to begin with, or if you're just activist or something trying to stir up, what have you. And if this was the one straw that broke the camel's back, well then, you're one of the reasons most likely why 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 MAGA stumbled and failed. You're one of the types that likes to throw the baby out with the bathwater over. And compared to the other immigration problems that we have, compared to the amount of undocumented, illegals, busing, and all the cartels, all the gangs and whatnot. We do have immigration programs. The H1B is a program that's near the bottom of the list as far as immigration issue. That's the issue that breaks the back for you. Then what the fuck are you doing? I've got to be honest. That's my take on things. But I guess people just are one. I guess some people really do minute things. Oh. So anyway, folks, well, that'll do it for this final episode of the year. Kind of a fun. A little what I had thought. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our final episode. And again, thanks for making for a great year for great year for Right to Media. And all of us, guys, we will be back New Year's Day live with Max Orpheus and maybe a few other guests. We will be starting a brand new time later, 10 p.m. Can't wait to see you all, folks. show. Shout out to my stepfather John, getting me a beautiful mag hat for right. Yeah. It's gonna be a great year, 2025. I know it is. I'm glad to have you all aboard. Thank you for tuning in to Whitfield Report. What it is today. I can't wait to see you all in 5. All of us here. God bless. Or we will see you in New Year. God bless, ladies.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. Make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless, God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.